Welcome back to the League of Hustlers. I'm your co-host HT,
And I'm CD Barnes.
and this is where we prepare to prosper. All right, today we're going to be talking about Queen Elizabeth. We're going to be talking about David Arnold. We're going to be talking about PnB Rock. What do all these people have in common, right? The one thing they all have in common is that they suffered untimely demises, right? Untimely demises. And they're in positions of influence, right? Positions of power, positions of influence. And we just want to talk about the importance of succession planning, right? The importance of succession planning. Think about that. You've built your empire. You've worked hard on your hustle. You've worked hard for your household, right? You've put the work in. You've built this thing from the ground up with your own blood, sweat, and tears. So what happens if you happen to suffer an untimely demise? Or maybe it's not that extreme. What if it's something along the lines of you just not being able to operate at the same level in your business, in your hustle, right? In your wealth building activities as you were able to before, right? And that's what we just want to have this conversation about, because this is something that we really have to take an honest account for, right? You don't want to leave your family with a burden, right? The whole point of you creating this wealth and creating these systems and creating these side hustles is so that you can provide a better life for you as well as your family. So we don't want to pass them a burden, right? We don't want to pass them a bunch of bills. We don't want to pass them a bunch of headache along with heartache, right? So it's important for us to think about succession planning. It's important for us to simplify and systemize, and it's important for us to maintain and optimize. Both of which are sections inside of the Dream Stream strategy, which is coming soon. Make sure you like and subscribe. And we just want to jump right into it. So, Brody, thinking about, Queen Elizabeth's death, right? Thinking about David Arnold's death, thinking about PnB Rock's death, right? Young Dolph, even going back to some of these other, highly influential people that kind of took a loss or suffered an untimely demise that kind of shocked everyone, right? Some of them had, stuff in place. Some of them didn't, right? So what's your perspective on this?
Yeah, we see this all the time, man. I feel like, there are people that we see, celebrity status, and we assume that they have, the money, the car, they have the symbols of wealth. And then something happens to them, an untimely demise. And then after the fact, you hear the stories about how their family isn't doing that great, or they're suffering, their mom this or their spouse that, so, League of Hustlers, guys, this is all about creating, mastering, and maintaining, these streams of income. And just as a whole, right, we're talking about like a wealth building strategy. Wealth is, when we talk about wealth, it's something that should be passed down to another generation, even after you're gone. When you look at companies like, Walt Disney, Disney this is an actual person, he's been long gone. Disney, the continuation of this business and this brand will continue probably long after we're gone, even, so that, to me, when I see that's a successful model. And that's where we need to begin our building process with that in mind. We know we can get the bag now. All right. We do it all the time. People that have the bag, you see the people that are out and they're blowing the bag, but they're getting to the bag. But it's not very often that we see a successful, succession plan or a legacy planning when it comes to that. So key question is here, can your business run without you? What happens to your business? What happens to your brand if you suffer an untimely demise, God forbid? Or just, what if you're unable to run your business in the same capacity, that you've run it in the past? What happens? So, just bringing up the conversation, so that you understand the importance of having a wealth building strategy like the Dream Stream strategy. All right. Because it's not only about getting the bag, it's about securing the bag and securing it to the point where this thing could run without you. H and I were just talking, we were saying like, okay, let's say your business is running to the point where, you have all this revenue coming in. However, it costs you, let's say it costs you 10, 20 grand a month that you're spending on expenses to generate this revenue. You have an untimely demise. Nobody knows about how to run this business except for you. You don't have the proper systems in place. And then all of a sudden, the money isn't coming in. However, you got these things set up to where that 10 or 20 to keep it going is still coming out. It's still coming out of accounts. Now, somebody's going to have to handle that debt, your family, your spouse, or whatever your scenario is, you know what I mean? So you need to have a plan in place. And that's really all we're talking about here. It's having a plan, having a strategy in place,
Yeah, and that's as you were talking, something popped in my head, and this is not only for an untimely demise, right?
Right.
What if you just want to take a sabbatical? You know what I mean? You just want to get away. You want to completely remove yourself from the business, right?
Take a year off.
Yeah, you want to take a year off or a month off, right? Will all the systems still run, right, without you there? Will things be able to continue in the same fashion, right? You want to take that year off. If you go, when you come back, will the business have folded, right? And these are the type of things that we want to think about, right, going in. And the beautiful thing about it is that if you're listening to us right now, right, you haven't suffered an untimely demise, right? You're still here with us. So you have time to, start working on that kind of stuff, right? It's the same thing with like having a will in place, right? Having things in place that will help you and your family be able to still survive, right? And the angle that we're coming from, though, is from the legacy angle, right? You think about Walmart, right? What is that? The Waltons, right? The Walton family. You think about, it's tons of examples, man. One example that I have grown fond of is the Marley family, right? Like Bob Marley. Think about his legacy, the legacy that he left, right? To the point where, this guy is loved around the world. You see what I'm saying? Like literally loved around the world right now. And has been for decades, right? Bob Marley has been, passed from this side of the veil from, for since what, the 70s or something like that. So, but if you go there, right, everybody sings his praises. He's revered there, in Jamaica. He's, statues, monuments, tributes, and all of these things, and his family is still able to live off of what he set in place, right? They have control over his image, they have control over the name, and so that's how we want to think, right? That's how we want to put on for our families, so to speak. We want to be able to position ourselves where, in our companies, where it'll have a lasting impact, a beneficial impact to our loved ones, right? What are you going to pass down? A bunch of clothes, a bunch of bills,
right?
You know what I mean? A bunch of headache with the heartache. No, we want to pass down legacy. We want to make it easier for the next generation. We want to make it, we want to set your, seeds that much further, right, ahead of where we started. And that's how I approach stuff, and that's how I think about stuff, right? Because as we know, life is no walk in the park, right? And there are tons of things to overcome, from, you know, mental things, from financial things, from just all sorts of things that needs to be, more importantly, taught, right? So the knowledge needs to be passed down, and then the wealth needs to be passed down, right?
Hmm.
And this is why we always say, right, especially more so during our earlier episodes, share knowledge, build wealth. Share
Right.
knowledge, build wealth. That's what we're about. That's what the Dream Stream strategy is about.
Hmm.
And by following that strategy, right, that'll be soon available. I know folks keep asking about it. We're diligently, putting the finishing touches on it. But by having that model of sharing knowledge and building wealth and instilling that all throughout the Dream Stream strategy, you're going to be able to build that wealth, right, in a way that is self-sustainable, right? In a way that doesn't require you to be there the entire time, right? Yeah, you have to check in. Yeah, you have to, what we call, maintain and optimize, but that's the whole point of it, right? Is to be able to maintain, simplify it, and systemize it so that you can easily pass it on to the next person. How will you do that? We'll teach you how inside of the Dream Stream strategy.
Right. I think the queen is probably the best example of this. We're all very
Right.
familiar with you want your wealth to be transferable. All right. And it's not just your wealth. A lot of times it's like, all right, I want to pass down money. You know what I mean? But if you give a dummy money, man, they're just gonna make a bunch of dumb decisions. They're gonna make a bunch of dumb decisions. You know what I
Right.
mean? Whereas before they would have made some dumb decisions, but if you give them a bunch of money, now they're just gonna make a bunch of dumb decisions.
Right.
So not only the money, like H was saying, you need to also transfer this knowledge. You need to also transfer the vision.
Mm.
You have to the vision is a key part of it. And then
Right.
I really like the Disney example because you can see over time that not much has changed. Things change as the times change for sure. But in regards to the vision, it seems like they still have the same course, with providing, you know what I mean, a certain level of family entertainment, and adding value in that way.
Right.
So I think, transferring wealth, transferring knowledge, transferring your vision, which is key. This is key. That's biblical, honestly. You
Right.
looking at like Moses dies. He doesn't make it to the promised land. You know what I
Mm.
mean? So it's the next generation that has to take this vision, which is the same vision, and then they have to begin the journey to try to make it to the promised land. And that's basically what we're talking about here.
Right.
Succession planning, legacy planning, being able to pass down the vision. This is
Right.
how, not only like purpose, even passing down a purpose. Like you don't have to necessarily follow in these footsteps, but this is a way that our family, our business, our brand has contributed to the value of our community, our culture, and in return, we have received great value in return in the form of money. You know what I mean? It's made us wealthy. You know what I
Right.
mean? But to be able to pass that down, you don't have to look for a purpose now. You know what I mean? Here you go. This has been our family's purpose. Our family has been, serving this community in this way. It has been very generous in return to us. Just keep that stuff in mind, man. Keep it in mind because that is a part of wealth building. It's not
Hmm.
totally monetary. You know,
Right.
some people
For
won't
sure.
be able to. Some people won't be able to pass down money. Let's just be honest. But
Right.
even if you have a strategy and you don't make it to the point where you have boatloads of cash to pass down, it does not mean you don't have anything to contribute
Right.
to the next generation, your family. That's, we still need the information that you had. We still need those values. We still need the vision. We still need purpose. All right. So don't just get stuck on the monetary part. But I think you get the point that, wealth building strategy, this is a big part of it. Plan to the end. Plan for your absence. Not only it doesn't, like H was saying, it doesn't have to be an untimely demise, but just plan for your absence in general. All right. How's this thing going to work if I'm not here? Remove myself. It's like you're a parent and you got kids. You train your kids all this time, clean the house, do this, boom, boom. You're training them how to run the household. You use the microwave like this. Make sure you cut the oven off, lock the door, blah, blah, blah. You're training them how to maintain the house when you're not there, so that when you actually leave the home and you come back, it's still in good shape. You need to do the same thing with your business. That's it, guys.
Yeah, man. And one last point to kind of double down on, like Queen Elizabeth, right? Think about how as soon as she passed away, just all types of stuff started happening, right? It's almost like a set series of events immediately kicked into play, right? And so boom, boom, right? This happens, and then the prince, what's his name? Charles, is it Charles? Is appointed, king, and they have the ceremony, and they do the this and they do the that, and he gets this and he gets that. They were warned about, the throne, right? And that legacy. But I truly believe there's a silver lining in everything, right? And so looking at it from that perspective, and looking at how a certain series of events and a succession just kicks off. We have it in our own form of government, right? If something happens to, the head, then, the second in command takes charge, and the third, and then the fourth, and then the fifth, and right. And a series of actions are put into motion, right? And so we can take that model, we can look at that objectively and implement that into our business, right? Because it's critical. And like we said, not only in terms of death, right? Just in terms of, maybe you want to take a mental break. Maybe you want to take a sabbatical. Maybe you want to, just go and travel the world. The way that you'll be able to do that is going to be by having a succession plan, right, in place, and systemizing and simplifying your business, as well as maintaining and optimizing. Two subjects, right? Two sections that are a part of the Dream Stream strategy. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you get on the email list. It's coming soon. We're going to talk about it, and we're going to break that mug all the way down and let you fill out forms, fill out worksheets, and get your plan in place. All right. But yeah, man, anything else you want to highlight about that?
No, if you've made it to this point in the video, please hit the like button. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. If you aren't, leave us a comment. Let us know what you thought about the video. Head over to shop.legacyhustlers.com. Like H was just saying, you can subscribe to our list, and we'll send you updates on the release of the Dream Stream strategy and any materials that go along with it. All right, we got freebies coming out as well. So thanks for tuning in to another episode of the League of Hustlers. All right.
Yeah, man.
We out.
Yeah.